I'm a narcissist. If we're being real, this was to be expected. Hi, my name is Sydney, welcome back to hell. And as per usual, before we launch in, today's video is sponsored by Beam. Also, as you all know, I am going on tour in October, doing a fun show, an almost real-life video, if you will, for you all. Link in the description if you want to buy tickets. But as part of that, we have been working on some tour-specific merch, so it will be exclusive at the shows. And I think the initial concepts are kind of funny, and I think you'll like them, so I wanted to show you, okay? I know I already have Hell Gondola merch on my website for those of you who think we're in a boat, but for those of you who think we're in the, like, hell air gondola, this is what I've come up with for you. Then there is this one that we thought would be really cool on a jacket. And here is me as your Hell Gondolier. Hell Gondola boat steerer person. Anyway, if you come to a show, there will 100% be tour exclusive merch. So these are just some of the concepts. I thought you'd find them funny. But as I said, link in the description. If you want to come, there will be tickets. Come see me, come hang out. Let's do the video. So over the years, obviously, Hollywood has had a bunch of actors and actresses who have been very strongly disliked, whether they deserved it or not. For a long time, it was Brie Larson that people really hated.
I did my stunts because I thought that that's what everyone did. And then
Tom Cruise over here?
No, I'll be the first me, not the next Tom Cruise. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Then it was Ezra Miller.
I'm transgender, non-binary, and I don't want to be searched by a man.
Then it was every woman in the female-only Ghostbusters, and I currently strongly dislike Pedro Pascal.
Stop trying to make Pedro happen. It's not going to happen.
But for a very long time, it seems that nobody has quite captured the public's disdain like our girl, Rachel Zegler.
Weird.
Zegler's career started out bright and hopeful, as you would probably expect. And although she was only a teenager when she landed her first role, she was believed to be on a path to superstardom. But in the eyes of a lot of viewers, her success has been relatively short-lived, maybe even destroyed, and strangely, this was done by none other than Rachel Zegler herself. There is something very interesting to me about people who basically nuke their own success trajectory. At this point, she sort of feels like the poster child for it. What's really interesting is that Zegler's fall from grace has been a very satisfying watch for plenty of people. And it isn't because she isn't talented, although I personally don't love her singing or acting, but that's just me. Some people really do, and that's great for them. It's because she cannot seem to stop herself from directly degrading her fans, alienating people with polarizing political statements, and insulting the original works of the adaptations that she's been in. Across the board, I might add. Rachel Zegler's career launched when, at 17, she landed the role of Maria in Steven Spielberg's 2021 adaptation of West Side Story. I am potentially ashamed to admit that I know absolutely every song in this musical. Sometimes I just walk around my house clicking. Get out of the way of my clicking! This performance was reasonably well received and even earned her a Golden Globe. People were excited about her. Comment sections of old interviews and appearances from around this time are largely supportive. But then, her interviews showed that she was seeing the world and her works through a bizarre, woke, progressive lens. This was showcased in one interview from 2021, where she critiqued the West Side Story's racial dynamics, blaming white people for the main conflicts in the plot. Full disclosure, I have not seen the new West Side Story, and honestly, I'm probably not going to because, like most things today, I will probably hate it, but I have to say that as far as the original goes, it wasn't, I mean, like, yes, it included things about ethnic dynamics between the warring groups, but that wasn't the primary focus. That was just how they were able to modernize it. It's Romeo and Juliet. That's the story. That's the basis of it. I don't want to get stuck in the weeds here, but my God. I'm sorry, an analysis of West Side Story is obviously not part of this video at all, but this is on the bright side how all of you find out that I was at one time a giant theater nerd. Anyway, in one clip, she calls the Sharks, the rival gang of the Jets in this new version of West Side Story, a rainbow of the Latino community, and then struggles to name what constitutes Latino diversity.
The Sharks are a rainbow of the Latino community. We have Afro-Latinos, we have light-skinned Latinos, we have Latinos from Puerto Rico.
It's
I have to say this here too, because this is a theme in many of Rachel Zegler's interviews, and those of you who are actually Latin or have Latin roots will have to tell me if this is normal, but she's American. Rachel Zegler is American, and she speaks English. She does not speak Spanish, and she certainly doesn't speak it fluently. I looked it up. So for the life of me, I don't understand why she's insisting on pronouncing Spanish words and names with a Spanish accent that she doesn't have in a language that she doesn't speak.
Puerto Ricans, Maria, Latina, Maria.
And maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm being a nitpicky butthole, but I think it sounds forced and weird. It'd be like if I was talking to someone and every time, I had to say a French word, I said it in a French accent. It's awkward. Yes, I have also been to and lived in France. No, please, I would love a croissant. I'm not gonna lie, I would actually love to shout fromage at people. I think that would be a lot of fun. Anyway, even back in 2021, these comments felt a little bit weird, and for a lot of people, the progressiveness in them felt quite forced. But a lot of Rachel Zegler's initial stupidity really could have just been chalked up to being a young person and growing up in a very, very politically polarized period of time. But as time wore on, this really proved to be more of a feature of Rachel Zegler, not a bug. And before long, her trashing the original pieces of the adaptations that she was performing in became kind of common.
Man, you want to know what else is depressingly incredibly common? Not being able to get sleep, which is why today's video is sponsored by Beam.
As you all hopefully know by now, I only work with brands that I actually like and use. And that is 100% Beam's Dream Nighttime Hot Chocolate for me. Forgive my grubby packaging, like I said, I actually use it. Since I told you all about Dream, a number of my friends have actually started using it because they watch my videos and they watch my little ad. Like, I gave one of them a little baggie of some of the formula, and then she said that that was the best sleep of her life, and then she bought some for herself. And of course, she used my code SydneyW for 35% off. And that's basically been my experience too. Better, well-rested sleep and no disgusting grogginess when I wake up. When I was sick recently, I had to use a sleep decongestant instead of Dream because I couldn't breathe at night, and it was noticeable how much worse I felt trying to wake up. With Dream, I warm up some milk or water, throw a scoop of Dream in, mix it up, and drink it about 45 minutes before I'm ready for bed. And the good news is that this formula includes great ingredients like magnesium, L-theanine, reishi, and melatonin, but you can always get their melatonin-free version if you're sensitive to it. I'm so glad that Beam wanted to sponsor this channel again because I love this product, I love the taste, I love the sleep I get, and I love that it has no gluten, no added sugar, and is non-GMO. So if you too want a better sleep and a yummy drink, then click the link in the description or go to shopbeam.com/SydneyW. And don't forget to use code SydneyW for up to 35% off for a limited time. Or you can always subscribe for long-term perks and benefits like free shipping. In a 2022 interview, Zegler said that her version of Maria was a multi-dimensional character, unlike the black and white original film and stage production versions.
New and improved Maria, who was just this multi-dimensional character rather than this kind of black and white individual that I think a lot of people remember from Carol Lawrence's performance or Natalie Wood's performance in the Bob Wise movie and the stage production, stuff like that.
She also comments on how great the team she worked with was, which is very nice, but she also emphasizes that she isn't hyping up the film just to win awards, which feels like a bit of a weird thing to say.
Of course I want to win awards, I'm a human being.
Zegler's next big role was in 2023's Shazam! Fury of the Gods, a box office flop, and that's honestly putting it mildly, that didn't help carry any momentum for her career. Frankly, until I was making this video, I didn't even know that she was in this movie, or that this movie even existed, so, there's that. But even here, she left a bad taste in people's mouths when she was asked about why she wanted to join the DC universe, and she responded that she simply needed a job.
What made you want to step into this world of DC heroes?
I needed a job.
I'm being so serious.
Some people really appreciated these comments. They thought that they were real, they thought that they were relatable, but then others thought that this came across as entitled and smug. And as her media career grew, her interviews just got weirder.
Weird.
On Jimmy Kimmel Live in the same year, while talking about her upcoming role as Snow White in the Disney remake, she tried very hard to be funny, but kind of missed the mark and just came across as reasonably unlikable. While talking with Kimmel about her new role, Zegler shared a story about a fan singing to her a line from the song Maria, which is from West Side Story, as she was leaving the restroom at a Chili's. Instead of chalking it up to possibly an awkwardly timed encounter with an overly excited fan, she claimed that the interaction ruined her night and made her leave the restaurant.
And there was a man coming out of the men's room, and he looked at me, and he just went, "I've just kissed a girl named Maria." And I came back from the bathroom, and I walked up to DJ Katrona, and I grabbed him by the shoulders, and I said, "We need to leave."
Oh, really? He ruined your Applebee's dining experience.
It was a Chili's, but I'm glad you...
This is a hard one because I do think that people are entitled to having private times with their friends and loved ones. But I don't know. I don't know if I would admit this type of thing on a national television show. And in this way, it doesn't... I don't think it comes off very nicely. Like, even if you think this, maybe just don't admit to it in this way or articulate it a little bit more nicely, because if that fan was watching this interview, they would feel quite sad and embarrassed, I imagine. And I for sure could be wrong here, but it absolutely makes you sound like a little bit of a jerk. And the grand finale of weird comments during this interview was when Zegler complained to Kimmel that fans often asked to take photos with her in front of the Snow White ride at Disneyland, and she has to pretend to enjoy it.
Love you. I love
me?
so much.
I love you. I get stopped for photos every time I'm online for the Snow White ride, and it is I have to pretend like, oh God, I love you.
Wants to play Snow White, but hates having to actually act like Snow White. Make it make sense. We also can't forget her disrespect towards the original animated Snow White film, and the many comments that made people very upset and basically put her on the map. As many of you likely know by now, Zegler royally upset the internet when she did a series of press interviews about the Snow White remake. In one, and this is the one that you've all probably seen a million times, she referred to the prince in the film as a stalker, explaining how the story was about Snow White's girl bossification rather than her pursuit of love. She also joked about cutting all of her love interest scenes. As you do.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time. She's not going to be safe with the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
I'm a narcissist.
In another, she talked about how she didn't like the original movie and actually found it quite scary as a child, which, like, honestly, fair enough.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once, and then I never picked it up again.
You know what's actually weird? Appearing in remakes of works that you clearly dislike. Sadly for Disney, and honestly Hollywood, although they poured millions of dollars into fancy marketing and basically begged fans to like both Rachel Zegler and the Snow White film, people just didn't. The damage had been done. Tear. And Disney knew it too, because in the lead up to the film's release, they relegated her to the back of the bus and tightly controlled the premieres and interviews, deciding who could ask questions, who could answer them, and really dialing down all of their marketing events, much to the chagrin of the other actors in the film. But the film's flop was really to be expected, not only because people are sick of remakes, but because Zegler was doing what Zegler does best and ran her mouth a bunch in the lead up to its release. This also included some political opinions she expressed around the time of the 2024 election. Zegler made a TikTok encouraging people to vote for Kamala Harris, as is her right, saying that there was no other option, okay, and that those who disagreed, she doesn't want their business.
Vote for Kamala Harris. And it's actually non-negotiable. Our rights are on the line, folks. Our reproductive rights. Come on. Go vote blue. And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Babe, what business do you mean? As in the films that you act in? Like the one that failed at the box office a couple months later, spectacularly? Is that the business you mean? Probably not terribly surprising to any of you, after the election of Donald Trump in 2024, Zegler made a post on Instagram saying, "F Donald Trump, and may Trump supporters and Trump himself never know peace." Comments she then had to roll back and apologize for. But even before this, she was straining her relationship with Disney, who didn't love her public commentary and especially didn't like her tweeting about freeing Palestine as part of her promotion of the Snow White trailer. But pissing off Disney and even Steven Spielberg's company went back a few years, and it seems to have started in 2022 when she expressed on social media that she wasn't invited to the Oscars that year as the star of the Best Picture nominee West Side Story, a film that was interestingly distributed by Disney. The reason she wasn't invited appeared to revolve around the fact that this took place during the pandemic nonsense, and we know how Hollywood is. She also wasn't nominated for anything, and she was also shooting for Snow White in London. She was eventually invited to host at the event after a bunch of social pressure from her followers, and in the end, she actually ended up referencing her lack of an invite in her speech.
Growing up in Australia, I never thought that I would stand on this stage.
And I never thought that I would be here 6 days ago. I did it.
Now, at this point, what had become quite obvious and evident about Rachel Zegler is that despite whatever media training she may have had, she's very good at alienating not only her viewers, but just viewers in general with everything that she says and every social media post she makes. And while, of course, there are lots of people who do like her, to many others who don't, she comes across as flippant and disingenuous and almost trying too hard a lot of the time. Trying a bit too hard to tell a joke in a funny way or deliver a punchline in a way that's super clippable for social media.
It's Hollywood, baby.
But after the massive disaster that Snow White ended up being, Zegler ended up returning to the stage productions where she began her acting career, starring in the newest production, Evita. I don't mean that Evita is new, it's not. What I mean is that they're doing it again. It's the newest iteration of the production with new people and whatnot. However, the nightmarish PR followed Zegler as Evita struggled to fill theater seats. And criticisms of the production itself arose when Andrew Lloyd Webber decided to have her perform the iconic number, Don't Cry For Me Argentina, outside on a balcony for free for people outside to see, but streamed inside to the paying audience. While many onlookers gathered to listen to her sing nightly outside, many in the actual audience felt cheated of their theater experience and have complained loudly online. And obviously, this was a creative decision from the director, and this isn't Zegler's fault by any means, but obviously she's the one that gets the blowback. For me, this is definitely a situation where I feel like she got screwed over, and this criticism that's being levied at her is actually super unfair. I also saw some people saying online that she was trying to change the Evita script at one point because it is offensive to marginalized communities or something, but to be honest with you, I couldn't find any reputable reporting on that, so I'm not sure of the veracity of those claims, and I really wouldn't put any stock in them. I also saw this video floating around where Zegler was crying on stage after she got a standing ovation. All of the comments on this video were basically saying that this was a put on and it's super disingenuous, but I'm not super sure personally what to make of it. I am quite curious to hear what you guys have to say, so you'll have to tell me, but I don't know, it's entirely possible to become overwhelmed with emotion in a situation like this, although I will say, you know, having seen a million different stage productions of varying quality, there's a lot of commonality among them where a lot of people stand up at the end and will often clap. Like, standing ovations are not uncommon, so I don't know, I don't know what to make of this. I don't know. You guys will have to tell me what you think. I will say I have personally never seen a cast member cry like this at the end of a show, but that's not to say that it doesn't happen. I mean, people do have actual human feelings, and Rachel Zegler is in fact an actual human. I don't know. You guys will have to weigh in because I don't know what to make of this one. Anyway, although I've seen lots of speculation that she's been blacklisted from Hollywood for the time being, Zegler is currently being considered for the role of Maria in the Sound of Music stage production, and And I just have to wonder why on earth anyone hasn't learned anything from her previous experiences. And the headlines about this particular situation were exactly what you'd expect. All jokes aside, it is fascinating to see her continue to get jobs like this, despite headline after headline demonstrating the horrible reputation that she has made for herself because she just can't seem to keep her own thoughts in her brain. What I mean by that is she has to say them rather than staying in her little skull. She has to spit them out into the world. In an interview published in late June 2025 with ID magazine, Zegler basically said that she views her platform as a responsibility to tell the truth, which is why she's made so many politically charged statements, including those about the conflicts in the Middle East. She followed up by adding that there are worse things than seeing her own downfall for speaking out, which, like, ordinarily I would agree with. I guess good for her, if she really means what she's saying. This interview I actually found a little amusing because Zegler talks about how she chooses positivity and how light she is, and yet not a few months back she was telling Trump supporters that she hopes they never know peace, and a few years before that calling nice princes stalkers. So, you know, I guess you're super nice when you joke about cutting your cast member scenes. Yes, real positive. Now, with all of this said, the question here is, why is Rachel Zegler's downfall so satisfying to so many people? It's not just about her talent, or lack thereof, depending on who you ask. It's about the fact that she has consistently and routinely, for years, rubbed people the wrong way with her comments, and in a way that feels personal, I would imagine, to some viewers. Rachel Zegler is still so young, she's 24, and many of the dumb comments that she made were when she was even younger. So there is a part of me that's like, okay, I mean, we're not talking about some 40-year-old person here. This is a fetus. We are discussing a fetus. Every single time I would start to feel sorry for her, and, you know, reading about the anxiety that she has from all the hate and whatnot, you know, I really feel bad for the kid. I empathize. But then, you know, I would read or listen to the next thing, and then I would just be like, this is why everyone hates you. Bottom line, every time I would feel bad, she would do or say something terrible and annoying, and then I would feel irritated all over again. And I have to imagine that has been the experience of other people too. There's this sense of entitlement that comes from her interviews and social media posts, like when she complained about not getting an invite to the Oscars in 2022, even though she was filming for Snow White and she wasn't even nominated. It was like she expected the red carpet to be rolled out for her, a 20-something newcomer, just because she starred in a Best Picture nominee. Then there is her handling of fans, calling that one interaction a night ruiner, or complaining about posing for photos at the Snow White ride at Disney. Essentially, calling your fans annoying is, like, probably not the way to win people over. Just thinking out loud. Acting like people supporting you is a chore is probably not a good look. Like, even if you think this, maybe don't admit to it publicly. Just keep those opinions to yourself. And frankly, I think this extends to her trashing the original projects that she's worked on. It isn't bold or edgy. It basically just spits in the face of the classics that made her career possible. Fans of these works who grew up loving them sometimes feel personally attacked when she tears them down to prop up her remakes. And as far as the political statements go, I think that this is more of an issue of time and place. There are a lot of very, very leftist people in Hollywood who love to talk about their viewpoints, but for some reason, they're a lot less jarring than the way that she goes about doing it. And, you know, I think about people like Chris Evans, for example, who's a good actor. I like him as an actor, but I hate his opinions. I think they suck, but he overall seems to be a really, really likable person, and maybe that's why it's not so upsetting when he expresses extremely progressive views. Of course, having your own ideas and beliefs is perfectly fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but, you know, maybe using your actress movie platform as a soapbox is not the best idea. But when you're promoting a family-friendly movie, like one with Disney, and you're dropping things like F Donald Trump and attacking Trump supporters and saying free Palestine for no good reason, it's not really the time and place for that, and more importantly, you are picking a fight with half of your audience. Zegler burst onto the scene as this golden girl, winning a Golden Globe very early on, landing Snow White, and was seemingly unstoppable. But then she kept tripping over her own ego, her own words, her own need to be the loudest person in the room. Every snarky comment, every polarizing post, every jab at a beloved classic, It's like she's been sowing the seeds of her own downfall one interview at a time. And when Snow White flopped, people didn't just see a movie fail, they saw Rachel Zegler's unchecked attitude finally catching up with her. I think people get sick of celebrities like Rachel Zegler because her entire industry is built around getting people to like you so that they'll watch your stuff. But she seems to think, at least in the way that she behaves, that she's entitled to the fame she has. Instead of being grateful for her audience and wanting to show appreciation for the opportunity so few people get, she turns around and wags her finger at them through socio-political preaching, insults the ones that she doesn't agree with politically, and shows so little self-awareness about the world around her while being so confident in her ignorance. So in the end, it's really not about talent. It's about watching someone who thought they were above it all finally get humbled. And as far as Hollywood drama goes, this is the sort that not a lot of people can look away from. Now on that note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder, check out Beam using the link in the description. I love this stuff. I have gotten everybody in my life onto it, so if you too have issues with sleeping and you want to try something different, absolutely check out Beam. Now I open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. Do you dislike Rachel Zegler? Do you like her? Are you a fan? Are you someone who thinks that all of this is totally unnecessary and very unfair on her? Do you think that she really just makes things worse for herself every single time she opens her mouth? Do you think that she's entitled to say the things that she's saying and people are just unbelievably unkind to her for some inexplicable reason? Do you think that she's a good actress? Do you think she's a bad actress? Do you think that her opinions are contrived? Do you think she really thinks these things and is just expressing them without any sort of rhyme or reason behind them? What do you make of her desire to basically kind of be an activist? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? And what do you generally make of this issue overall? As always, if you have made it this far in the video, congratulations. I always like helping you along for the full ride. If you are new here and you are not subscribed to the channel and you would like to see more of me and more of this kind of content, feel free to subscribe, as well as leaving this video a like and a comment, because I do read the majority of them and I like hearing your feedback. Of course, in the interim, I hope you wonderful little chickadees stay safe and well and make good choices, because they are always important. And I will see your pretty little faces in the next video. Can you see down my top? Boobs?
That's not bad.
Maybe I'll just have to keep my chest out like a bird.
Like a T-Rex.